Hello guys, my name is Coach Hayes and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be going over 5 important concepts that you need to know in order to improve and succeed in Overwatch. This list will be specifically comprised of concepts that should help you no matter what type of player you are. If implemented correctly, these steps will help you improve and ultimately win more of your games. And on that note, if you enjoy and learn something, please consider leaving a like and of course subscribing. Don't forget to join me in my Discord to get notified when I'm streaming. Anyways, with the plugs out of the way, let's get into the video. The biggest punishment in Overwatch comes from dying. 10 seconds to respawn, and between 10 to 30 seconds until you come back into position for a fight. If we assume the average game takes around 10 minutes, and you being eliminated 6 times, that's 2 to 4 minutes you're out of the game, lowering the amount of healing and damage you can do by 20 to 40%. Oftentimes we are so caught up into our goal to slay the enemies that we don't think about the consequences of our actions, and how it will affect our team and our win. It might sound crazy, but learning to think more before you act in Overwatch can win you a lot more games. Let's break down some clips so you can understand the thought process needed to survive. I'm waiting for my team to regroup after a team fight when the enemy starts to push my position. The enemy Zarya is threatening to kill me. If survival is my #1 priority, I need to find a way to escape to safety. I guardian angel towards my Ana in the hopes of escaping, only to be met with another decision. Is it safe to resurrect her? I'm still in a very dangerous position, so the choice to resurrect my Ana would probably be the wrong one. The correct play here would be to guardian angel away to my Reinhardt and away to safety. You need to start actively prioritizing your survival over everything. Every decision you make needs to first take into account your survival. Another great way to increase your survival is planning an exit strategy. In this example, I'm playing Winston on Anuba's first point defense, and the enemies are staging to come through the choke point. I need to think about how I want to engage this fight. Should I use my leap to engage? What's my exit strategy? How can I escape if I've used my only mobility cooldown to engage? These are the types of questions you need to ask yourself. Instead of using my leap to engage, I've prepared myself in a position where I can drop on the enemies from close range. This lets me save my leap if I need it to escape. The key here is knowing your way in and also knowing your way out. This ensures your survival. The more that you are aware of, the better choices you can make in every situation. The first simple way we can raise our awareness is to check the scoreboard at the beginning of the game. The enemy heroes become visible 15 seconds into the game. This is very useful for checking if the enemy has any counters or heroes that you need to be particularly aware of. For example, in this clip I see the enemy has a ball and a Widowmaker. From this I know that I should play behind shields and natural cover to avoid getting picked by the Widow, and be aware that the ball will likely be looking for flanks to try and boot me off the high grounds. Check the scoreboard as frequently as you can. It's useful for keeping you up to date on the enemy hero swaps, as well as tracking key ults and preparing yourself for the next fight. The second key to building awareness is frequently checking your surroundings, updating yourself on your team's position and the enemy's position. This is important for all roles, but especially important for support and tank players who need to be aware of their teammates' position and health. Look at how often Choi Hyobin is turning around. He's trying to take in any additional information that is around him, helping him form his next decisions. When looking around at your teammates, they may not always be visible. That's why you need to use their indicators to see their status. Blue arrows indicate a full health teammate, yellow indicates someone who has taken damage, and orange indicates someone at 50% health or less. Thanks to the indicators, I saw my Ashe was getting pressured by the ball and made sure I was there to help. Try and get into the habit of checking your surroundings more frequently, and you'll be surprised how much you can notice. To be in the right place at the right time can sometimes feel like the impossible task when it comes to Overwatch. We're going to take a look at some common timing problems and how to fix them. Firstly, staggering. Staggering is a pretty big problem in the lower ranks as it can waste a lot of your time bank. To fix this, use your knowledge from the previous concept, awareness, to check your surroundings and make sure all of your team members are ready to engage. Don't be like Intax. Find a safe position and wait for them to group up before making your move. Tanks play an important role in Overwatch. Each tank hero might have a slightly different role, but in general they are designed with high health pools and unique defensive abilities to survive and draw the enemy's attention and resources. So how does this relate to timing? Let's take a look at this example and see if we can spot the mistake. My team is setting up around the point and I call to engage with Nano. As we said before, the role of the tanks is to draw the enemy resources and aggro, creating space for their DPS and supports. Who has the enemy's aggro in this frame? The mistake here is that I'm engaging before my tanks, when in fact I should be communicating and waiting for my tanks to engage or draw aggro before I go in. Had I been more patient and aware of my tanks, this would have been a very good time to engage. As you can see, my Wrecking Ball has engaged and is drawing the aggro from the enemy team. Now that we've seen the common timing problems from DPS, let's look at how to time your tank engages. Before we get into that, answer this correctly. What is the role of the tank? Did you answer correctly? The role of the tank is to draw the enemy aggro and resources while staying alive. As you can see here, most of my teammates are still moving the objective or setting up their position, meaning that my timing was ineffective. I should have waited for them to be ready to follow or support my engage before I went in. If we compare the first engage to this one, here my supports and DPS are both in positions where they have direct line of sight onto my engage, meaning they can move forward and take space, as well as pressuring the enemies. Make sure that your team is in position to capitalize when you engage as a tank player. Skill comes from deliberate and consistent practice. This quote really rings true with anything you do in life. If you can learn how to practice and do it daily, you'll be guaranteed to see improvements. The issue is with a lot of people is that they don't know how to practice. Let's take an example. I'm a Tracer player and I feel like I'm not hitting quite enough of my pulse bombs. How can I fix that? Repetition. I'll go and spend 10 to 20 minutes before I play just trying to hit my pulse bombs. Repeating that until the pulse bombs feel like second nature to me and I no longer have issues landing them. You need to find out what you're lacking in your mechanics and go and practice. There are plenty of amazing workshop codes out there for practicing various different aspects of your hero. I'll include the ones I've shown in this video in the video description. But if you'd like to find more, go take a look over at workshop.codes. Aim training is something that everyone should do as much as they can. I can't stress how important it is for you to be consistent with your aim training. There are plenty of aim training tools out there like Kovacs or AimLab, but if you'd like to keep it inside Overwatch, there are many great workshop modes you can try which will serve you just as well. For players who would rather practice in Overwatch, I recommend practicing this mode around 10 to 15 minutes every time you play Overwatch. Push yourself and always aim to beat your previous high score. As well as this workshop mode, I encourage you to spend time in Aim Arena versus other players. There are always Aim Arena game modes running in the custom game browser, which you can hop into and practice. For any Kovacs users, I've also included a good Overwatch playlist to practice in the video description. Skill comes from deliberate and consistent practice. Put in the time and you'll see the results. The final concept is studying. This word may bring you some PTSD from your school or university years, but it's not as bad as it sounds. The aim of studying is to develop your knowledge of Overwatch further and open your eyes to new ways of thinking and playing the game. How do we study? A good way to study Overwatch is to watch and learn from the best players. Conveniently, there are many different Overwatch streamers out there dedicated to providing educational content in which they explain their thought process and teach as they play. Don't just pick any streamer, find a Grandmaster or top 500 player. Try and analyze and think about the way they are playing, comparing everything you do against what they do. Challenge yourself with questions like, why are they doing this? What's the reasoning for pushing there? Just getting your mind thinking about Overwatch is a great way to start to understand it further. Reviewing your own gameplay is also another great way to pick up on mistakes. If you're struggling to see any mistakes, ask yourself in each of your deaths, could I have prevented this death? Why did I die here? Is there another position I could have taken here where I may not have died? Start to analyze your own gameplay and you'll be surprised on how much you can pick up on. Another great way to improve would be to learn from someone with experience playing and coaching Overwatch at the highest level. You can find my coaching over on my website, coachhaze.com. Anyways, I know this was quite a general video. If you'd like me to go more into depth on any of the concepts I talked about in the video, please leave me a comment letting me know. As always, if you enjoyed, I'd really appreciate if you could leave a like and consider subscribing. Have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next video.